I have some things I want to say to you, may have never said to you, because I keep some things to myself in this context. Abraham was a friend of God, and I love being God's friend. One thing I like about being a friend of God and not a prophet of God or a pastor of God or a minister of God, friends tell friends secrets, hoping they never tell anyone. And so there's a lot of stuff in me that I feel the Lord has shared with me over the years because he just let it slip in conversation once. And not for me to preach, or it wasn't time for that. But friends keep secrets that friends tell them. And so there's something the Lord's been saying to me that I just said, it's not, I don't know. Is that a secret, Lord? Or do I need to say this? And I need to say this. And so before we get into some of the scripture, I just want to say that here's what I know, that you know, but I know. We've reached critical mass in this nation. We've reached critical mass on a level that you may not have any idea about. I mean, it is critical mass in everything from political arena to economics, to atmospheric, to the shifts and changes and the crazy stuff that is going on is reaching a tipping point of critical mass that's going to really be nasty. I'm just going to have to say it's going to be nasty for the world and the nation unless we get in front of that curve. And so that's what I want to challenge you with this morning, because the Lord's challenged me with that. So what is critical? What I mean by critical mass? Sort of the definition, the school, grade school definition is the size or mass or number of intensity of things that's necessary to reach a tipping point for a massive dramatic shift or a change. We have a collective, crazy stuff happening in the world now that is getting to the point of critical mass that's going to tip and it's going to change some things like we've never seen before, and I don't think this generation's prepared for it. I don't think we're prepared for what is coming unless God helps us do something about it. You know, I always err on the side of positivity, and I will here, because I believe there's an answer to every negative, if I can put it that way, because there is, in every antichrist, there's an opposite Christ. So, boy, you're quiet already. This is going to really be good. So I think there's an economic shift, a society shift, a political, a culture shift. I said that it's just that it's not like a decade away. It's not like a year or two away. I mean, 4 or 5 years away. I'm just holding my breath at any time for the next year to the next 2 years. We have got to get through this impasse as a nation and as a people. And so, saying that, the Lord spoke to me about 2 months ago something that I thought I would never share this, so I'm going to share this because it had a little bit of a scientific edge to it, and I didn't do well in science because I was always absent at the pool hall playing snooker. But anyway, so there was more money to be made there than ideology to be had there. So anyway, so the Lord awakened me in the middle of the night, and he reminded me of nuclear fusion, and that something had to do with the creation of the universe and atomic and nuclear. And of course, the two terms, as you know, are matter and antimatter. And the Lord said to me in a, how would I call it, a play on words. He talked to me a little science. You know, he is the ultimate scientist, you know. And he talked to me a little bit of science, and then he put it in another context. And he talked to me about, you know, do you know what matter and antimatter is? And I knew this, and in atomic language, of course, antimatter. I don't know what antimatter is. Antimatter is atomic structure, a mirror image of atoms. And there's matter and antimatter, and they mirror each other. The only difference between matter and antimatter, which we get nuclear fusion from, et cetera, which the universe was created with, is that matter and antimatter are identical, except one has a positive charge and one has a negative charge. And all that we see right now that's matter in this world, there's very little antimatter. Antimatter has an opposite charge. And because of who and what we are and what exists now, we have less antimatter than we have matter. Now, Oppenheimer and some of the others that you've probably been watching lately have discovered that in by the way, 1945 and 46, which I saw it, I thought, gosh, 4 years later, I was born. So I'm connected all the way to the Second World War, the whole atomic bomb thing. And I remember in the first grade having to hide under the chair of our first grade school, under the table, as drills every day because of the fear of a nuclear attack from Russia. So the generation that you are living in today and the generation that's coming probably has no continuity or context to if you're 60 or 70 years old. We're not that far removed from the Second World War. Do you realize that I was 4 years old right after the Second World War? That's why they call me a baby boomer. And so I have a little bit of a longer thought process about time and where we're at, and not in the moment. It's like, gosh, it's just been a blink of an eye to the Great Depression, actually. It's not that long ago. There's still people who probably are alive or at least have been in the last 10 or 15 years from the Great Depression. So we're at an inflection point. So in atomic language, let me get back to that, the Lord was saying to me, you got to lean into matter and not antimatter, Larry. And you got to talk to the church about what matters and what doesn't matter. Because if you let what doesn't matter, antimatter, affect what matters, it neutralizes everything. And there would be a universe, that's where atomic bombs have infusion. That's where destruction happens when what doesn't matter leaks into and becomes stronger than what matters. We're in a big heap of trouble. And our antimatter level in this nation, in this world, is on a high alert right now in every area. So, gosh, because if you're over 50 or so, you're not here for you. You're here for the next generation. Not here for me. I'm not here. I'm done building a ministry. Already done that. Done doing all this. Done. I'm here to try somehow to invest into the next generation. This broke my heart. Recent Bible study survey was made across the nation of younger generation. I don't know exactly which, but much younger than me. They gave them a choice. If you had the choice of which one would you lose, the right to vote or the right to social media, which would it be? Over 50% say would lose the right to vote over social media. I thought, we're so in trouble. Nobody wants to join the military. It's like, Jesus, God. I'm not demeaning anything. I'm just saying we're living in a critical time. And we have to invest in each other. And we have to invest in what matters, not what anti-matters. The Bible's full of guidelines on what matters and what doesn't matter. So Paul puts in this context, and I'll end this.